We are joined by former Pro Bowl offensive lineman. Of course, he's our colleague here at Sports Radio 610 as well, and he's been out at some of these Texans practices, so we wanted to get some of his thoughts on where we are with the all-important offensive line. Wade Smith joining us right now on Sports Radio 610. Smitty, what's shaking, man?
I'm good, man. It was good to get out there to training camp yesterday. I got to give a lot of credit to the Texans and how they set up the grandstands out there with the covering to where you could sit up at an elevated level and see the entire field. And I got some really good looks at the offensive line and defensive line, some of the one-on-one pass rush stuff they had going on. It was pretty cool to be up there in the area that was covered when it was. I mean, it was hot as hell.
Yeah, I actually
and it was good to be covered to be able to see what was going on and not, suffocate.
I was angry and pissed off at the weather yesterday, and I was sitting down in the media area in the sun, and I could tell there was, because we had a Texans alumni event up in the covered area, and I looked up for the big silhouettes, and I could see where you were sitting, Wade, and I was like, oh crap, Wade's got a view of the one-on-one pass rush right now that I don't have. So I said, hey, Wade, I'm going to call you tomorrow and just give me your notes. So I'm not even going to, because I know, like, when you're watching these things, especially when you're not acquainted with all the players just yet and everything, it's hard to draw a lot of conclusions or anything. But was there anything that caught your eye while you were watching yesterday?
I really like what I saw out of Roy Lopez.
Yes, and I'm telling you.
He looked good.
Yes.
He looked good in one-on-one pass rush. He also looked good in the run drills that they had going on.
Yes,
in the middle of the field. Like the kid, I mean, he looked good. Is that something you've been standing on the table about?
Yes,
he has.
Thank you, Wade.
He has. He's been standing on the table. For
Wade, no, and it's good to hear it from an offensive lineman, and especially from an offensive lineman that played in Gary Kubiak's system, because every step along the way, Wade, I've kind of been watching and seeing, okay, here's a guy who's not particularly tall, but he's strong as a bull. And Wade, you know how it is in college. A lot of these guys that are super strong against college kids get to the NFL and it just doesn't translate. They don't have the technique or the speed or whatever. Every step along the way, like when I've been waiting to see how he looks in pads, how he looks versus zone blocking schemes where he's going to have to move his feet a little bit, he looks like his feet are fast enough. He keeps his hands active. Like, he's not just strong. He'll punch a guy and then keep his hands moving. I'm really, like, honestly, I've been singing about this kid for 2 weeks. I'm excited that you saw him, and like that was immediately one of the things that jumped out to you.
Yeah, it's tough to handle a guy that is already built low to the ground, and they're doing a good job. But you see with Lovie Smith's defense, they're trying to penetrate, get up the field, and cause havoc in the backfield. Anytime you run an outside zone, that's what defeats it. And I saw him do that multiple times yesterday, get up the field, cause havoc. And that's what you want to see. Now, I would like to see him do it in games. It's really good to see it in practice. I'm always hesitant of crowning young guys.
Yeah.
Because when the lights come on, sometimes it's a little different. But everything that I saw of him yesterday, it looked like, all right, this kid has already figured it out. And you can tell he's not playing with any hesitation. He's, see ball, get ball. And that's what you want to see out of young players, especially later round draft picks.
Former Pro Bowl offensive lineman Wade Smith joining us on Sports Radio 610. So, Wade, I think the fans, if you watched this team last year, you looked at the offensive line and said, boy, they sure have invested a lot in the offensive line, and they don't look particularly well coached. So I think there's a lot of optimism with James Campen being the offensive line coach this season. How much impact can a new offensive line coach have on an offensive line that is largely holdovers from the previous regime?
I think you can have a significant impact, especially if you saw in the past with the old offensive line coach, you can see the offensive line being put in certain positions that really weren't conducive to them having success. Campen comes with those kind of accolades and that those pelts on the wall to where it's like, hey, we're going to do it this way, and this is why we're going to do it this way, and we're going to build whatever we're doing offensively around what's best for us to have success. And so I think that's the first thing that you're seeing from Campen. A lot of the stuff looks married up. A lot of stuff last year, you would say just throwing a random play out here, a random play out there, and you can tell they really weren't working on it that much. I don't think you're going to see that this year. You see them doing multiple things, but you also see them repping it a ton in practice, and so that's really important for offensive line. I think you're going to see a lot out of them with the wide zone. I like the fact that they they put Titus Howard over there at left guard next to Laremy Tunsil. That has to be a camping thing. That was something that I said, I don't know, probably a few months ago before, like right when he got here. Like, I hope that he moves Titus Howard to left guard and let him be next to Tunsil. And you saw when I was watching practice yesterday, you see Howard play, a handful of snaps at left guard and then slide out to left tackle and play some snaps at left tackle, and it's seamless. And you would think that Titus Howard is going to be the left tackle of the future. So put him on the left side and let him work it out and have you some memories of what it was like back in the day when it was Dwayne and I playing on the left side. You saw that in practice yesterday, them doing double team blocks and getting moving at the point of attack and Max Sharpen pulling around and getting some contact on the linebacker at the second level. It looked really good. And so I'm excited to see what they're going to do going forward. But I came away from practice yesterday encouraged about what I saw.
Go ahead, wait.
No, because when you think about everything that went into this offseason and everything that was going on, you don't know what you're going to get when you actually see it live and in person. And so I was really encouraged about what I saw from the offensive line, what I saw from just watching the receiver group running drills. There was just different position groups, what I saw the running backs. Philip Lindsay, I saw a lot of things that were encouraging, and I wasn't necessarily expecting to see that or expecting to see anything. I just kind of, sit back and see what we were going to get, and there was some encouraging things out of the Texans.
Yeah, I've been the same way, Wade, because there was so much mayhem off the field and so much going on that I kind of expected a comedy of errors out there. And after you watch for a little while, you realize, well, for one, there really aren't a lot of young players because, Bill O'Brien traded away all the draft picks. So there's a lot of veteran players out there. And at the very least, for whatever it's worth, they run it professionally. You made the point with Roy Lopez, the defensive lineman, that you can't really make any judgments until you see him in games, and ideally really until you see him in regular season games. I'm in the same mindset for Charlie Heck, who's been getting a lot of reps at right tackle. Number 67. He's 6'8". He was long and lanky and disjointed and uncoordinated last year. He looks a lot better this year. And he's been getting a lot of reps, but it's in practice. This is what I'm nervous about. You still can only tell so much from preseason games, he could go out there.
Yeah.
What are you going to look for him in preseason games to feel like, okay, if he could actually start for you in the regular season?
Well, I want to see him being put in some pressure-packed situations, some 3rd and 9s, 3rd and 11s, and having to pass protect against a legitimate pass rusher out there. That's what I want to see him in. I didn't really get an opportunity to see him do that much yesterday, and you're not going to really see what it's like and feel what it's like in live action until you actually get into a game. And so that's one thing that I really want to look forward from him. But one thing I did see out of him is he looked like he belonged.
Mm-hmm.
When I was watching, there's sometimes that guys, they just throw in there and it's like, all right, well, you can tell he's out there because somebody's hurt, or you can tell he's out there because they're just trying some stuff out. But he looked like he belonged. He looked the part. And so, will that translate to him, having a successful season? Who knows? But, the fact that Marcus Cannon is hurt and the fact that Marcus Cannon didn't play last year at all, you want Charlie Heck to step up and actually fill that role, because when they made the trade for Marcus Cannon, I think they really wanted him to be their starting right tackle. And he's got some physical issues, and as you get later in your career, it's tough to come back from that. And so I don't really have many expectations from him. Hopefully he comes back, because if he comes back and plays right tackle and he's what he was a couple of years ago, then the offensive line for the Texans is formidable. We really haven't mentioned Justin Britt, but Justin Britt looks really damn good out there.
Mm-hmm.
He looked good in one-on-one pass pro. He looks good out there. It's good seeing a tatted up offensive lineman that likes to get after people. I ain't really seen that in a while since Chris Myers. And Chris Myers, his tats were kind of like, those what are those not the handlebars or whatever it is, those old tattoos that he kind of made fun of back in the day.
Like around the bicep,
tattoos. Yeah, the bicep tattoo. And we used to mess with him all the time. Like, bro, where did you get that tattoo? But looking from the stands, Justin Britt looked like he had some legit tattoo action right there. Like he was ready to, do some work. And so it was good to see him out there playing well, playing at a high level.
He's avoid Chris Myers taking shots just out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I had a friend of mine, by the way.
He's my brother. It's fine.
I know. I had a friend who lives up in Philly who texted me yesterday. He's like, hey, do you know Chris Myers at all? was like, yeah. He's like, well, I crashed his party this weekend. I don't know what. Somehow my friend snuck into Chris Meyer's party this last weekend. He's like, I didn't know whether to mention his name or not, because now that you're in the media, he might have hated you. And I'm like, no, I think Chris actually likes me.
Yeah.
That's
You'd have gotten invited to the next party.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have to crash.
Yeah, you wouldn't have had to sneak into his mansion
right.
or whatever kind of palace that Chris is living in up there.
That's right.
You're not going to scare the Myers with a good time. So I'm sure that was a good party, and they had a good time up there in Philly.
There you go. Wade Smith, former Pro Bowl offensive lineman, of course, part of our team here at Sports Radio 610 as well. Smitty, it's great to catch up. Looking forward to seeing you and catching up as the season draws closer, my friend.
It's always real, fellas.
There you go. Wade Smith on the way out with the catchphrase. Love that.
Wade Smith, excited that his first observation was that Roy Lopez looks like the real deal.
You were beyond excited.
It's one of the happiest things that's ever happened to me.
You screamed yes at least 10 times.
I was
think he blacked out.
It.
Yeah. I'll have what he's having. Yeah. All right, so we roll on here. Good stuff from Wade Smith. Good observations. He's as good as it gets when it comes to breaking down the offensive line stuff.
Chris Myers just texted me.
Oh, he's listening?
He says, that was your friend?
Oops.